Hey folks, it's Lindsey Hollis with SPS back in the building. I am in Bearcat Country with my guy, Coach Kevin Marshall, representing the Bridgeport Bearcats here in Saginaw. Love making this trip up here, man. I love taking the drive, and when I get up here, I know I'm going to be feeling like I'm at home. That's why I wore my Bridgeport red today to represent. Right. I want to feel like I'm part of the fam. I do feel like I'm part of the fam.
All the time.
Sitting here with a pillar of the community. Words can't really express the impact he has, and I'm going to definitely use my platform to acknowledge that. Just with the love when I promoted today as the SPS Team of the Week, just the love for so many people sharing when I talked about, recognizing Coach Kevin Marshall and giving you your flowers. But I pose this question, who is Kevin Marshall?
Kevin Marshall, first off, husband, father, brother, and the proud pawpaw.
Pawpaw, yes,
pawpaw.
Right. That's right.
And to the kids, I like to think that I'm everybody they crutch. I'm who they can lean on. I'm someone's savior as far as like when they're going through struggles. They know they can depend on me, and I tell everybody I was born with big shoulders so these kids can stand on top of them. And that's how I lead and, deal with it that way.
When I hear you say that, man, talking about being a crutch and big shoulders, I just know from my work, whether it's sports psychology, consulting, behavior specialist work, whatever it may be, I just know that after a while, it's so much to deal with. So blessings to your wife,
yes,
because she's sharing you with the world.
That's
blessings
right.
to your family from the grandbabies on up. But how do you manage all these things that you hear and more importantly, some of the things you see that you can't unsee once you see them?
Man, a lot of meditation. I do a lot of praying. I do a lot of one-on-one talking with God, and always giving Him thanks for giving me the energy and pouring into me so I can give back to others. A good friend of mine who's over there at the score table, Mr. Barlow, told me the other day, he said, I was just told here to come today and told me to tell you that you are a preacher, but not with a cloth, not with a robe, but you are a preacher and you're preaching to these youth. He says, so no matter what you're going through, you continue to give back to these youth and continue to help these youth because that's what you're here for. And so I carry that, with a lot of pride.
And as you should, because I'll tell you what, in my travels, whether it's on the collegiate level or even the high school level, you come in contact with young men and women in programs.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm at programs, man, where the coaches are at their wits' end.
Yeah.
Where there is not that level of respect. But I come here, man, your young men always help me out.
Yeah.
They don't do it begrudgingly. I get a different kind of vibe with them.
Yeah.
I even got some of them now I still just stay in contact with via social media because the relationship was like that. How does that happen? Because I know these kids' DNA ain't no different than kids everywhere else. So how does it happen like that here?
And it comes from day one when you come in the door with me. I'm a disciplinarian. It's about discipline, structure first. Because as being an ex-military, we can't teach anything without discipline and structure. So we can get that, and the kids see that I'm genuine. Because one thing I tell a lot of people about these kids, they can see through you.
Oh, yeah.
They can see through you.
They got some X-ray vision, don't they?
Oh, they got it. And they know when you're real and when you're giving them a lot of BS.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's one thing I tell them, I'm going to keep it real with them. Sometimes it hurt their feelings, but they get over it.
Yeah. One thing that we talked about in our several conversations is your ability to listen, and I really was locked into your ability. We can say we listen, but sometimes with our degrees and our life experiences, we're always kind of listening for our chance to give them an answer.
Yeah.
But you have this ability to be a very active listener, and you listen today empty.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit.
It's kind of like we discussed earlier. To start with a kid, I always was taught you're going to have to tear them down and build them back up. But when we're learning how to tear them down, you got to understand them. So by understanding, it's about talking to them and letting them talk. Talk about the good, the bad, the happy, the sad. And you let them talk about it. Then when they say they ready for you, then I can start critiquing and giving my input. And we bounce off with each other. And I think that's helped big time with me working here and being around these kids.
Yeah, were you always like that? Did you always have the ability to do that?
You know what? I think when I was in the military, I learned that. Because I was one of these knucklehead kids growing up. And I didn't want to talk to nobody. Definitely didn't listen to nobody. But when I went to the military, it changed my thinking process. And as I got older, it's just, having kids, I changed as I got older.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of that change that you're talking about, and I'm sitting here with Coach Kevin Marshall here in Bearcat Country, Bridgeport Bearcats representing, getting ready to take on Birch Run in a moment. But talk about how so many young people, young men and women that come through these doors with you, and then after you give them life lessons, you talk to them later in life, and they kind of all come back around and say, Coach, I see the smile up under your face, You say, and I'm not saying that you want to have that to say I told you so, but talking about how, it always kind of brings itself back around where they kind of get it. What's that been like?
Man, that's probably the best thing about being a coach. I joke a lot sometimes by saying I don't know my real name anymore because I hear coach all the time.
Everywhere you go?
Everywhere I go, whether I coach them or not, everybody knows me as
you can't
coach.
possibly coach all of them, you hearing your name, but that's what they identify with.
That's what they identify. And one of our conversations we had talking to a young man that's in Florida, and he talked to me about he's coaching now, and he's like, man, I'm pouring back and giving them the same stuff you gave us. Even when I'm here, this year it didn't happen, but normally over Christmas break, guys that I coached in Saginaw, they'll come back from school or their adult lives, wherever they're from. I'll bring them in the gym to play against my guys.
Oh, man.
And they see me do the same drills I did when my son was 3 years old, 4 years old.
Wow. Just say, hey, you got hands too. You looking out for me out here.
Yeah, live game.
You got to be ready. Right.
And so when I hear things like that and I see the guys always on Facebook and they talk about, remember Coach Marshall this or remember Coach Marshall, I get a joy out of seeing that because that let me know that it was something I did affected them in some kind of way.
Right. I get it. We're dealing with COVID, obviously, and you were one of the people that I reached out to early on when we were trying to figure out what we're going to do. As you look at the screen right now, people can see how you guys were representing at the Capitol, when it was about, what are we going to do to move forward. You were very fortunate. You were very helpful in supporting SPS when we had our coaches virtual forum, lending your voice. What has it been like working through this? Because now we went from are we playing to, man, this season is on its way,
It's almost over.
we moving over the hill now. What's that been like?
At first it was a struggle, because one, you had to get the kids back mentally locked in. And one of the things we did here is I talked to you about, we took up yoga.
Yeah, I know. We was talking about that.
And we talked about working with your mind and learning how to deal with different things and learning when things around you are stormy, how to stay calm in the middle of a hurricane.
Oh, man.
And that's real big with my guys. And we did a lot of that. I did a lot of mental, sending positive quotes and things like that just to mess with their mind and let them know, hey, we still cool, we still normal.
Right.
But it was tough.
Right.
And now the guys found their way, they're grooving now. And, it's like, we never stop now.
Wow, it's amazing. I done made my way up here for a basketball game, but X's and O's isn't at the heart of what we're talking about. It's about how you can impact these young people in the community.
Yes.
Before we get out of here, just talk about the Saginaw community. Talk about the support they provide. You said there was a game just the other day where more fans were able to come in.
Yes.
Talk about what your experience has been like being, a brother of Saginaw, if you will.
Yes. Just to start the other day, the governor opened up where we could have more people in the gym. When we had all these home games, we were barely having 50 people in here. And I think the kids didn't play well to it because, you didn't have a crowd like you
that
hear
crowd
now.
is something.
And you had to be an extra with your coaching because now you got to keep them motivated. We have to be our own cheerleaders, and sometimes that can be hard, playing, coaching, being a cheerleader too. So we learned from that, and like you said, Saturday, it was nice to see all the people here. Great atmosphere from our crosstown rival with Carleton High School, and they brought in fans, and it was just like a big family reunion.
Wow,
basically, and we had a good time, and the city is very supportive. Even when we went down to the rally, I had coaches that was very supportive. They wanted to step up and go. Some couldn't. But I didn't think about just Bridgeport. I thought about all the kids in the city of Saginaw because I knew it was messing with their mentality too, their mental. So my thing was, let's go and represent for the city, whether it was Bridgeport, Saginaw High, you know, Carlton, wherever. I just wanted to go and represent so the kids can get the opportunity to play.
That's great. We talked about, you know, your young people. We talked about the community. The last thing we can wrap up on, you touched on it, is mental health. I mean, that's at the core of what we do, not just to stay mentally tough to play basketball or football, but just dealing with life. And I know you've been a huge advocate for positive mental health. You know, what message can you give to a young person that may be out there struggling, adult that's struggling, as it relates to getting the best grip you can on your mental health?
I tell you take it one day at a time. As an adult, you know, going through the things I've been through in my life, I deal with it every now and then, you know, and so I have someone I can talk to when I need that shoulder to lean on, just like the kids come to me. But you have to, I want to say, I bottle it, but at the same time, I release it slowly but surely. I can't just open it all up at once, and I have to release it slowly, and then I'll progress that way. And I think that's the way I talk to a lot of the youth today, you know, we talk about that. But a lot of it, I'll be honest, I do a lot of writing now. I'm working on my book. It's called More Than a Coach. Man. So, and I've been doing it since the pandemic started. And I just wanted to talk about the other things that coaches do that people don't see. The things behind the scenes, like, you know, what we see every day. Like you seen the kid bring a cheeseburger in today. You know, just little things. And I just want people to know, but I utilize that, and I tell a lot of my kids the same thing. And even with the yoga that we do, we have them write, and they write down their thoughts daily. And then when we come to yoga, they'll express it. And, you know, we don't pressure anybody. We ask them who want to speak today. And
do a lot don't want to speak?
Oh, we get 5 to 6 every day.
Oh, they want to talk.
And they talk about what they're going through.
And you probably couldn't make them talk if you said talk. But when you give them that space, they encourage
and they'll step up. And I done seen guys step out their shell and be like, I had to call mom and say, you should have heard your baby today. He spoke like a champion. You know, so.
Oh man, you gonna have me up here like this?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'll keep it together, because you be following me right along. Here we go. Well, I just want to say, more than a coach, Coach Kevin Marshall here, representing Bridgeport Bearcats, always receive me as a brother. He's a son of Saginaw, and more than a coach to these young people. Any final words you have for our listeners right now?
One, I just want to thank you again for coming up, man. And just to the listeners, keep supporting Brother Huddleston. It's always positive. You learn a lot, and I appreciate everything you do.
Okay, my God, all the time. Represent. This is Lindsey Huddleston with SPS. We out. We see you next time. Peace.
Right.